Hi everybody, it's Stacy from Quick Quotes, and I am here today to walk you through step by step these September Club Q kits. If you have never been a Club Q member, check it out online. Go to shopquickquotes.com, click on Club Q, and it'll show you what you get every single month. We do new kits for you every month. It's $32, free shipping. You get 10% off of all other orders. You can opt out, you can skip months, but it's an easy way to get brand new kits from Quick Quotes every single month, so check that out. This is the kit that we have that we will be walking through for September. These are kind of fun, starting to be fall-ish colors, but they are great for summer adventure pages. And I want to show you what is in store for next month. And also, if you haven't been a member before, we also each month ship, not only do we send 2 double page layouts, but we also send a pack of paper and ribbon and some extras too. So for your $32, you get an instructional video that I'm going to be doing here in a minute. You also get a 10% discount on everything else. On our website, you also get a two new kits plus the paper pack and free shipping when you're a Club Q member. So October is a really fun kit coming up because we use very muted tones. We used grays and browns, and this makes it very easy to add whatever colors you want to it. So if you decide that you have pictures that are going to match, let's say, some reds, or maybe even blues, you can add other papers around here to match the colors that you are going to use for your photos. So the reason I love this kit coming up in October, I would just cut an extra, maybe 11 by 11 to go behind this piece in whatever color you think your photo is going to be. You can also use it leave it the black and white, but this is just a very easy way to add any bits and pieces of paper to this to match any photos that you have. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to get started with the September instruction videos, and if you ever have any questions about Club Q, give us a call or get online and email customer service at shopquickquotes.com, and we'll get you all the answers you need. Okay, we are going to get started on the Life is a Journey, Enjoy the Ride kit. And this is part of the September Club Q. If you are not a Club Q member, you can check it out online. You get lots of free stuff when you sign up, and it is an easy way to get brand new kits designed just for you, for Club Q members each month. The great thing about Club Q is if it's something you won't use, you can opt out and you can skip months. You also get discounts if you're a Club Q member. So I am going to go ahead and get started and walk you through the Life is a Journey kit. First of all, you can punch out all of your diagram or all of your die cuts. We're going to work on page 1 first, and if you want to punch them out and lay them in piles, you definitely can. You also can keep them intact together, and then you can punch them out as we go if you would like. So we will start on page 1, and for page 1 we need a background piece that looks like this. So grab one of your striped papers, and we are going to do the cutting instructions first. So any of the diagrams here. So on our kits, there's always a clear picture of the entire kit on the front, and then we also suggest powder puff chalking inks. On this one, we suggest amaretto, fall leaves, and sky blue. So as you can see, though, you can use lots of different colors on this one. There's even a little bit of purple in this one. So if there are different colors you would like to use, you go for it. There is also a maroon color, so like Bloody Mary would look good on that one. Maybe Barnboard, that's a little bit more red. Any of the blues would look nice on here. Light moss for a green. Anyway, you have lots of options. I am actually going to use oranges on mine. And I have pumpkin pie here. It suggests fall leaves, which is a really nice new color. I have sunset, pumpkin pie, and I also have one that's a little more yellow sandstone here. So I'm going to make mine a little brighter, but you can also use any of the browns just to make it look a little more antique. But we'll start with the cutting diagram. So if you can grab your cutting diagram out of your kit, this is where we are going to start. There is, oh, actually, you know, I want to mention, if you are punching out all of your die cuts, there is a piece in the green one. And as you know, if you've taken Quick Quotes classes before, we tend to use lots of the negatives and the scraps and the extras because we don't like to waste the paper. We might as well use it on our page. But there is a die cut. It has plaid on one side, green on the other. This we are actually going to use. So you go ahead and punch out your circle and your square in the middle, but we are going to use this outside piece on page 1. So make sure you hang on to that. Don't crumple it up and throw it in the garbage. Okay, we're going to start with this diagram, and we are going to take the blue paper. It has kind of blue flowers on one side, and then it has this on the other. We're going to use the blue side, and we are going to start by cutting this 7 3/4 by 10 3/4. So we're going to push it over to 7 3/4 and trim down. So we go to 7 3/4 and trim. And then we turn it to 10 3/4 and trim. So 10.75 and trim. This little piece, I believe, is just in scrap, so you can take that and throw it away. I know that we use a lot of the scraps sometimes, but that one we don't. So this is going to get set aside to use on page 1. This piece actually gets adhered to this green piece that I was just talking about. So this piece that you save from your die cuts, you can adhere that on there. And make sure to go ahead and chalk these up as you go if you want them. Chalk different colors around the edges. Okay, so the piece that is left over from your blue, we are going to make a 3x4. So go ahead and push it over to 3 inches and trim. And this is left over. You can save it to do something else with if you'd like. And then we cut it at 3, so we're going to turn it and trim it at 4 so that we have a 3x4. I'm going to write that on there so that you can see when we go to use it again. And then this piece that is left over, we are going to make a 1.5 by 2 banner and then a 1 by 2.5. So to begin with, let's trim it down. And you can turn this really any way you want because you have lots of extra to work with. So we want a 2. I'm going to go ahead and trim it down to 2. And then we turn it this way and we do let's see. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I got this right. A 1.5. And I'm going to grab one of the other. Let me measure this real quick so that I make sure and tell you the correct way. Okay, so actually, we are going to trim this down to 1.5. So we just cut that at a 2, but we actually only want it 1.5 inches wide. So we're going to retrim that off there. Sorry, I had to check my work before we got too much further. Okay, so this is 1.5 inches. Turn it to 2. And you should have a 1.5 by 2. Now this one we want at 1 inch by 2.5. So we'll put it in the long way and trim at 1 inch. Turn it this way, 2.5. And there goes the train. All of you that have done our online events before, you know that when we go live online for our one-day events, we give away prizes every time the train goes by. We have a one-day event coming up in December 10th, and we're already half sold out. So if you want to join us in December for a holiday event, one day online, Facebook Live, check it out at shopquickquotes.com and go to online events and you can sign up. We're a little over half full, but it's a really, really fun day. We give away tons of prizes. You get 4 classes. We ship it to you early so that you have it and you can follow along with us live. Okay, so each of these are made into a banner. The skinnier one, the 1 inch wide one, I just put the 2 corners together and I trimmed up. So that made a banner for page 2. I'm going to set that with my page 2 stuff. Now this one is going to go on page 1, and you can again put the corners together so it makes it nice and straight, a perfect little dovetail. And you don't want to go too far at an angle, just maybe trim in to where it's about 1/4 of an inch in there. You open that up and you have a nice little dovetail for that one. So that's for page 1. Okay, so we have the cutting diagram for the blue out of the way. We are going to grab the white 12 by 12 and cut that. So we'll start with 2 5 by 8 1/4. So we are going to put it in at 8 1/4. Put your 12 by 12 sheet in at 8 1/4 and trim. So it's actually, we're trimming like this. So we'll trim all the way down here. And if at any point you need to pause the video, you go right ahead and get caught up. That's the great thing about having a video tutorial, is that you can just pause, stop and go as you please. Okay, so then we turn it the other way and we cut it at 5. And we want 2 of these. So we'll have 8 1/4 by 5. Move that down and we'll do another 8 1/4 by 5. So we go to 5 and trim that. And then this is just a leftover piece. So these are 5 by 8 1/4. And of course, you don't want to write on yours because it will show on your page, but I'm just doing this so it makes it easy so you know which ones we're grabbing. These go on page 2, so I'm going to set those aside with my page 2. Now, with this white piece that's left over, we're going to make 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So let's put this in to 3 1/2 and trim. And then turn it and put it in at 4 3/4 and trim. Move that down and you do another 4 3/4 and trim. So this is your 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And that's just a little piece off the end. These go on page 1, so we are going to keep them with our page 1 stuff. But those are the only 2 diagrams that we need to use in this kit, so we are going to set that aside and our trimmer aside, and we will get started on page 1. Okay, like I said earlier, we are using this piece out of the die cut. You can see that it is a negative. You punch some pieces out here. This green piece gets adhered 1/2 inch from the side, or 3/4 of an inch about from the side, from the right side, and then centered up and down. Your blue gets centered right on top of that green backer. And chalk them up as you go. Again, I'm using oranges just to kind of brighten up my page a little bit, but browns look really nice on this. It looks kind of vintagey. Greens, any of the blues would be nice. Bloody Mary or Barn Board, those are kind of brownish with a little red in them. That just gives it a little extra dimension there. So that can get glued down. Now your 3 white pieces that go down the side, we can go ahead and let's not glue down the white pieces yet. So we have about a 1/2 inch showing of the blue here, but we will lay them out so that we can find one more piece. And this one was already cut for you. So that one is in your kit, just pre-cut for you. And kind of get those lined up you would like. But we are going to go ahead and put the photo backers. These can be glued to your white piece. There's a yellow, a green, and an orange, and these all came out of your die cuts. So go ahead and find those pieces. They are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Those can get adhered onto the white paper. We don't want to glue these down completely yet because we have pieces that kind of tuck underneath of them. But you can have these all ready to go. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Glue your yellow to your white, your green to your white, and your orange to your white, and we are going to not glue those all the way to the page yet, because the first thing that we're going to do to glue to the page to get this going is life is a journey. You want to go ahead and trim that out of your quote sheet. And this will get adhered 1 inch from the left side of your page. So just barely into the maroon side. And it will go right underneath in the middle. You can see here of where you have these lined up. It goes right in the middle there. So once you find that spot, that's why I lay these out first, so you can kind of see where to gauge to put that down. Once you find that spot, you want to only put adhesive right on the ends of these. Put adhesive here and here, because we are going to tuck things in behind that. We're going to tuck in your journaling circle behind that. So you want to leave this kind of open. So just adhesive at each end. Line these up a little bit so that you know you are adhering it into the right spot. It's about 1 inch in from the left side. Once you have that on, you can go ahead and glue down your photo backers here. You just wanted to have that open so that you could put this piece in, but you can go ahead and glue those down to your page. The next thing we're going to do is we have these circles that came in your die cut. We are going to punch out the largest circle. And these are a little bit hard to chalk up when you have nothing behind them. So I actually will glue this on to my journaling sheet. And you can see here, I trimmed out around there. It doesn't look perfect. It doesn't have to look perfect because it's going to be hidden. The edges are going to be hidden behind here. So you just want to trim out around your journaling piece. And you can choose which side you would like up. Once you get that glued on there, you can use probably a glue pin would be best to put on the back of your white frame. Add that on there. Once you get it on there, then it's much easier to chalk up the edges. It makes it a little more solid to hang on to. I just love this pumpkin pie color. The fall leaves that is suggested on this too is just a little bit darker than this, and it's beautiful. Okay, once you have that on there, this actually gets tucked right under the corner of this. So I didn't mention earlier, but if you haven't gotten to this point, you'll want to be able to slide this under just the corner of your yellow and just barely under your green. So these two edges I would not put adhesive on, and then it gets tucked right underneath that life is a journey. So that's why we didn't put glue in the middle here. So it just goes slightly, and you can move this, mine on the directions, it's moved in a little further. I kind of like it out like this. The next piece that we are going to work with is a half circle that is in your laser, and that gets glued to your Enjoy the Ride. And this top part, if it's not cut exactly, it doesn't matter because this top part is not going to show. So go ahead and glue that on there so that it's glued just right around the outside of these little green squiggly things. And you'll have some left over at the top. Go ahead and chalk it up. And then that gets glued right underneath like this. And you can offset it a little bit because you just have glue just on the ends of here. Offset it a little bit if you like. And then your blue button goes right on the end. You have two large yellow banners. These are going to go right at the top. If it hangs over your circle, that's fine if you've already glued that down, or you can move your circle down a little bit, but it looks just fine if it hangs over a little bit. You have two orange, and always in your kit, if we have embellishments, we try to tuck them in a little bag for you so that you can easily find them and they all stay together. So in the top of each of those, you'll want to use a paper piercer or scissors and just poke a little hole, or just push these through if you want. But right at towards the top in the center, you want to put your brads. It doesn't have to go through the entire page. You can just put them through here because they're just for a little decoration. They're nothing that will actually, it doesn't hold them to the actual page. We're just going to adhere them on. And those two get down. And I always just lay things on my page before I glue anything down, just so that I can adjust if I need to. If you glue things down as you go, that's fine. I tend to find that I make a mistake and then I need to peel something back up. So I'm just putting these on here so that I can kind of judge where I want them. And then also a lot of times what I'll do is once I get a page laid out, I will take a picture of exactly how I want it, especially if you didn't go exactly like the instructions, but I take a picture, have it on my phone so that if anything gets messed up on here, it's very easy to figure out where you wanted it. Okay, so we have page number 1 done, and we are going to move that out of the way. Get your next stripe paper for your background, and I have all of my page 2 pieces piled together here. I'm going to move those to the side. And I'm going to get started on page 2. So to start page 2, we are going to take the 2 largest white pieces that we cut out, and we are going to put on the frames. Now remember, if you don't have your pictures that you want to go in here, make sure that you don't glue these all the way down. Just barely tack them down to the white paper so that you can easily peel them up and put photos in them later. And one way to do photos on these, so you want to make sure you're able to pull these up and do photos later. One way to do photos for these is to lay this on your photo, and you can trace right across the square and go down just as far as you need to here. Trace across the square, or you can put this on your photo and lightly trace the circle here, but then you would want to cut just on the outside of that so there's something to glue it to. If you do the circle and you trace that on your photo, you'll want to cut just outside your line that you drew so that you have a little extra photo to glue to the back of this. But when you put these down, make sure that you don't tack them all the way down so you can flip them up and put pictures in later. Now you have, this is your 3x4 that you cut out of a diagram. We are going to cut that into a tag. So what you do is just fold the top two corners together. You don't want to crease this. You just put top two corners together and just snip the edge. And that makes it so that you have a perfect tag with edges the same. You'll want to punch a hole, which I don't have a hole punch here, so I am going to just make a little hole like this. But if you have a hole punch, go ahead and put it through. And I see that my ribbon, I have dropped somewhere, but you'll just want to pull your ribbon through. And actually, you know what? On here, we didn't even make a hole. So if you haven't made a hole, you can just tie a knot in your ribbon and you can glue it right to the top of the tag. If you prefer to make a hole and pull it through the tag, you definitely can do that. But you can also just make a knot in your ribbon and glue it to the front and you won't know any difference. It'll look about the same. So this will go on. You have the rest of your die cut. So some of these are just leftover pieces. That circle can be put aside. And then we put the middle one off-centered so that you knew which ones you actually wanted to use. So we want, this is extra. You want this circle, and then you take the off-centered one out and get rid of that. And then you have a bigger circle, and these go on to your green circles. And again, I'm going to remind you to not glue all these down. You just want to barely tack down one edge because you'll want to later pick these up and put a picture behind them. And again, to use this for a picture, take this white, put it onto your picture, trace the outside, and then that's where you will cut to put a picture behind there. So just remember, don't glue it all the way down. And there is a button that goes at the top of each of these. So maybe just glue these on after you get your picture in there. And then you have three, chop these up as you go also. You have three banners. One will go right at the bottom of the orange, right under the longest one is the blue one, go right under the edge of the green. Your green one gets layered just over that, just slightly shorter. And then your yellow, which is just slightly shorter than that. Just adds a little extra color there. And then your arrow glued together. And that goes on just like that. And again, you don't want to glue your arrow down until you have your picture on your tag and your picture's inside your circles. But that was a quick layout. I tried to make most of the Club Q layouts pretty quick to put together, but they still look a little beefy, like they have some substance to them. I hope you enjoyed Club Q for September, and we hope you enjoy October. Thank you so much for being a member, and we will see you next month.